take a few moments, take a breath. Whatever is left on the trail to getting here, we'll catch up. Oh, catch up? Okay. Yeah. Well, now that we're all ready for this and holding this space for Gino, let's walk through the opening slides. This is the mission of Million Cups: to lower the barrier of access to education resources, connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs in the United States. And we have organizers here that help put this space together and prepare it for you. Como, who will be here in a few minutes, is our leader. Britt Powell and Tyler Power are the creative folks that put out all of our announcements and social media and things like that. I'm Bill McKinnon. Pramila is not here today. She couldn't make it. But Stephanie, Siobhan, Sean, and Brian, and Ray and Paula, who greet you, and Ray brings the cookies on the first Wednesday of the month. Here's the format. There's going to be a presentation, and then there'll be about 20 minutes of Q&A. And when you get the mic for Q&A, stand up, tell us your name, and ask the question or make the comment that you want to make. State your name. Well, I've already said that. Speak clearly and into the mic. We're recording. That's why I just made the mistake of dropping the mic. And keep it to one question per person, if you will. That way, as many people as can actually make their questions known. Parking, if you're not aware of this, free parking is in the back of the building. You climb the stairs to get in. Please don't park in the front because Poland wants those for their customers. All right. I had the privilege of spending about an hour and a half with Gino last Friday talking about what he wants to tell us today about his business. And really it's about what we're all about, which is about building connections and building community. So without any further ado, Gino.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Gino, and before I tell you about what Better Together Transportation does, I want to tell you why it exists. For 4 years, I worked in paratransit. I'll just click that if that's all right.
Okay, all right, fine, sorry.
Yeah, it works better.
Oh, I pointed. Okay. Thank you. For 4 years, I worked in paratransit, driving patients to and from doctor's appointments and dialysis. During that time, I met 2 men. Their names were James Henrik and Billy, and I grew close to them. It was through their life experience that I saw firsthand how a lack of transportation options and a lack of social connection can rob a man of his will to live. The picture before you is the only living memory I have of James, who on his forearm had a faded military tattoo of a snake around a dagger. I will not share their full stories here today, but suffice it to say that through their lives, I saw proof that the human spirit can die long before the body does. It is out of my love for these men that I founded the nonprofit service called Better Together Transportation. Our organization offers free, non-medical, door-to-door, wheelchair-accessible transportation for seniors, and people with physical disabilities who live within Buncombe County. Our mission and our goal is to provide relational transportation. Now, what is relational transportation? There we go. I believe a story can best illustrate it. Before you is a picture of Amanda, seated in the center, surrounded by her loving family. Amanda was a person who needed relational transportation. Her family were gathering from all corners of the state to meet at a house just south of Marshall to celebrate her father's life, who had passed away earlier in the year. Amanda, though only living 30 minutes away, was not going to attend because it is very hard to find affordable wheelchair transportation. She reached out to us, and we helped her to be with her family. On the way there, she was very anxious and said to me, "I don't know how my family will receive me because they have never seen me in a wheelchair before." We dropped her off and came to pick her up the next day. I noticed a change in Amanda. She seemed warmer, brighter, more confident. As we pulled away, she turned to me and said, "You know, I'd forgotten how funny my family really is." That is relational transportation, bringing people to be with the people they love. But for people in wheelchairs and for seniors who live in our county, finding transportation is difficult, let alone finding relational transportation. Each of us here knows intuitively that the day we surrender our driver's license is the day we surrender our independence and our mobility. For people without transit, they start to feel very alone. Before you are quotes from riders who have used our service, expressing how they feel without transportation options. The first is by a young man with cerebral palsy. He says, "Being without transportation is like having a second disability." The second is from a senior. She wrote to us, "Prior to Better Together, I was only able to go to medical appointments. That was no life. Being stuck in my home, I felt like I was just waiting to." We have driven over 250 different clients, and I have heard these sentiments echoed by many of them. Unfortunately, the need for transportation is growing, while the transportation options in our county are shrinking. Today, over 70,000 people in our county are of the age of 60 or older, meaning that 1 in 3 people are approaching an age where they will soon have to give up the ability to drive. At the same time, the city of Asheville is moving towards shrinking our bus routes. They have commissioned a study. In that study, it says that 1 in 3 people who are today near a bus stop will lose access to it. For a senior, this is a double blow, because by law, ADA paratransit service like Mountain Mobility that goes door to door, is contingent on the bus routes. So if someone loses a bus route, they lose 2 transportation options at once. And when you don't have options, you are isolated. And all medical research shows that isolation kills people. That brings us to a question. What infrastructure exists for the people we love to age with dignity and to do the things they love and meet the people who give their lives meaning. Asheville presents itself as a place where retirees can come and age gracefully in place. The reality is that our county lacks the infrastructure that allows that to happen. And so, we're building that infrastructure from the ground up. And we are doing it in a simple way, with simple tools, like the van you see before you, and that you may have seen driving around the city. We are solving it by giving people free, non-medical, wheelchair-accessible, door-to-door rides. And we are doing it while adhering to a mission. Our mission is to restore the social fabric of our communities by connecting seniors and people with physical disabilities to the people and places they love. If a person qualifies for our service, they get up to 3 round-trip rides per calendar month. They may use them for up to 2 relational trips, which are scheduled first and are our highest priority. And they may also use 1 errand/support service trip, which can be anything from groceries to hair salons to attending adult day services. They schedule with at least 24 hours notice by calling the number or by using our ride form at ridebettertogether.org. All of these rides for individuals are free at no cost to them. The first question that might pop in your heads is, why does a service like this need to exist? How come existing transportation options can't help these people get to the places they need to go? And that's because relational transit falls through the cracks of all existing transportation options. Business will do rides if it is profitable. Government will do rides with restrictions and stringent guidelines about where they can go. And medical transit is focused on only one thing: getting people to and from doctor's appointments. Meaning that if a wife wants to visit her husband in a nursing home just to sit and hold his hand, she will find it difficult to get transportation options there. Likewise, a man who wants to go to his dear friend's birthday party will also find it difficult to find options to get there. Those are the very rides we specialize in and that we have provided for people in our county. Now, how are we able to do this? Right now, our funding comes from 3 areas. The biggest chunk is government grants, mainly one from Buncombe County itself and their aging council that supports programs that help seniors age and helps them with their health. About 15% of our funding comes from donations, particularly from riders and the families of riders themselves, who will for the program to continue. We also draw from a foundational donation that started this charity. For full transparency, that was $100,000 that I donated myself. It was my house money. But as I drove for paratransit, I saw more and more good men and women dying of loneliness. And so I bought a van and founded a charity. I believed then that this was the better investment in my community. To this day, I believe that still. Before you is a graph that shows you all the different places that our clients like to go. I'd like you to take a moment to reflect on your own lives. Where is it you like to go when you go drive? Who are the people in your life that you yearn to see? Now imagine that tomorrow you had to surrender your license and getting to the bus stop was too difficult for your knees. How would your life change? You see, the people who ride with us want to live good, healthy lives and do much the same that you do. Every year we conduct a rider survey so that we can see the impact that our rides have on our riders. The results show that what we are doing is targeting the exact thing we are trying to solve. Because 92% of people who rode with us and completed the survey, and 100% say that they feel safe in using our service. Ultimately, what we're trying to solve is the same problem the medical community today is very focused on solving. They call this issue the social determinants of health and offer a clinical definition for it. But I believe there's a simpler way and a more human way to understand this. All that the social determinants of health means is that for a human being to live a long and healthy life, they need human connection. They need to be with their family, with their friends, in their community, and in their houses of worship. When a person is provided that, it bolsters the human spirit and gives them purpose and dignity. If a person has human connection and a vibrant human spirit, what they have is a will to live. And it may sound absurd, but a simple ride can give a person just that. Now I'd like to meet some of the people who ride with us or have ridden with us in the past. On the left is Linda. She requested a ride to go to the activity day of her granddaughter's school. On the right is Joe. He attends adult day programs, but spoke often and lovingly of horses. So we found a farm and a kind farmer and brought him there to feed carrots to the horses. On the left is James. James can now regularly attend his church. He was absent for more than a year and told me that the first day he returned, his congregation looked at him like they had seen a ghost. They accepted him all the same. James calls his church family. And we bring James to be with his family almost every week. On the right is Retha. Retha loves nothing more than to knit shawls and clothing as she wears herself when she comes out and rides with us. Her favorite trips are to ride around Walmart, not because she wants to buy very much, but because she wants to be among people. She has admitted to us that the only time in a given month that she goes out is when she rides with us. And so we have proven that there is a tremendous need for this program, and also that it improves the lives of our neighbors. But before we can even consider expansion, our priority is on strengthening the foundation of our service. Right now, we have no redundancy. We have one van and one staff, meaning that all scheduling, dispatching, fundraising, and driving is done by one person. Our goal is to make this foundation stronger and durable, because more and more of our neighbors are relying on this service as their means for social outings and human connection. I'd like to end this presentation by showing you how meaningful these trips are in the lives of the families who ride with us. Before you is the Boone family, and seated is Jeff. Jeff and his family would call us for rides, often to go eat dinner as a family. Their daughter, who was in college, would drive up halfway to meet them. They also called us for his birthday to take him out when existing transportation options failed to bring him there. Last December, the Boone family stopped making any calls. I learned later through a friend that Jeff had passed away from brain cancer. That means that the last rides Jeff ever took were through our program. And we did not take him as a body to be ferried between medical appointment and medical appointment. We gave him rides that brought him a sense of dignity and allowed his wife and his daughter to form memories of him as a husband and a father. We want to keep giving this dignity to our neighbors, our parents, and our grandparents. But we face certain difficulties. Before you are some questions that are the problems that we face as an organization, in the hopes that you can think on them and give us some solutions. But above all else, what I ask of you is that you please reconsider how you think about transportation, and to see it as necessary for human connection. It is only when the community sees transportation in this light that together we can build the infrastructure that keeps people connected. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, just a second. We're going to do questions now. Raise your hand. And can I get some help with the microphones? Yes. Thank you. Oh, you have one?
Thank you very much for that. That was pretty amazing to hear you speak. My name is Cam. The question I have is, you speak a lot of we, but it sounds like it's all you.
Cam, yes, that is a very good observation. I can never look at it as my project. Yes, I do much of the executive day to day, but I have received many donations from people. I have received loving support from people. I have had people reach out, my board members. It's a community effort. I can never call it my project or I. It's we.
Yeah. So the question I wanted to ask was, there's a lot of humbleness there to the point where you took the money you were saving up for your house, it sounds like.
Correct.
And you did this. What is driving that? Is it just the personal passion? Is it more a more religious calling, or?
Thank you, Cam. It comes out of a sense primarily of duty. Because at the core of this is suffering. And what I am doing is alleviating suffering among my community and neighbors. And if my thinking is, if I don't step up to do this, Other bad actors without these values or principles will fill the gap. And then we'll have a system that hurts people. So it comes from that, and this might seem outrageous. But Jeff is not the only person who has passed away in our service. Whenever I think of giving up or that this is hard, for some reason the memories of those people flash in my head, and it spurs me on. I hope that answers your question.
Hello, hello. Yep. Hold on. I do have multiple questions, but
Fire them off.
I'm going to work on giving to one. I really appreciate the everything you said. It was very, very impactful. And my grandfather, when he passed away at, I think it was 95, one of the things he told me in his late 80s was small groups of social connection was all that, was required. Like that's what kept him going, was having those little small groups to go to. So I think you're doing a great service for the community. I'm going to go off of Cam's questions because I want to tailor my question differently from your response there. You are doing it all yourself, and it does seem to be a duty for you. And that's amazing, and I thank you for doing that. But at the same time, you need funding, you need support to get going. There's no way you can do this yourself. And when I clicked that link, I was hoping I would go right to the donation page because you need money to be able to do this. And I'm on your website, and it's very hard to find a give button. That's like I can volunteer, I can do all this, yes. And my first question was going to be, why don't you get rideshare people to do volunteers? But you need the foundational stuff, like you said. You need the foundational stuff to keep your organization going before you can expand and get other riders and create a community of this, right?
I sense two questions.
There's a lot of questions, but there's a lot of questions.
We do have a donate button. It is not huge and apparent.
Yes.
My thinking is I don't want to manipulate people into believing and supporting this program.
I understand that, and I don't think you are, and I don't think most people who see you giving free rides to people socially are doing that. What I'm saying is accept, I mean, maybe this is more of a request, but accept that you have to support yourself to be able to support this thing that you're doing, and it takes money to be able to support you, to be able to support this organization, which brings in more people. So asking for money to help do this is not self-serving in a way, is what I'm saying.
No.
So what I'm saying to you is, again, from the, I grew up in a nonprofit organization, and my mom spent 25 years collecting donations and stuff like this. And I've seen the way nonprofits run, this charity versus looking at some of it like a business, that the people who are in the business need to support their family for the business to continue, for the nonprofit to continue to run. What I'm saying is, would you consider asking for more money from people? Because I think there's a lot of people in here who would be willing to donate if it was easier to, and they'd probably be willing to donate their time and their money. And again, I promise you, I'm not saying this from a place of don't do this. I'm saying a place from heck yeah, do this, but be open to get more people involved by making it easier to contribute both of their time and their money.
Yes. I sense that you want us to succeed.
I do. I do.
We welcome donations and do accept them and receive them because we turn money into a service.
Mm-hmm.
What I look at this work as is I am a steward of public funds, and I dispense of it through a service, ride by ride, to our community. That is why our greatest source of money is government money, which at the end of the day is your money. Mm-hmm. It's our tax money. So what better way than to redistribute it among the people who need it through a service?
Yes.
So yes, we accept that, and as far as our funding, we have about 9 months of runway at the moment. because this year Buncombe County has reapproved our grant and actually increased it. And yes, I am paid a salary. It is unsustainable to sacrifice for the community because neither the community benefits if the service goes under. But any true expansion or bigger goals requires step funding. There's no gradual growth in this type of model. You have to buy a van, you have to pay an employee, and by our standard, we like the living wage of just economics, aka what it costs for a person to live in this city. Until we have that, we don't grow. And so we do appeal to the community to say, do you value this? Is this something that should impact more lives? If the community says yes, then I go that way. If they say no, then I don't.
Before we go to the next question, I think what he's suggesting is make your donation button bigger and include it in the QR code.
I'll make it yellow.
All right. Hello, Gino. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for your presentation. This is an amazing calling. I mean, it's more than just a service. It's more than just a business. It sounds like it's something you really feel deeply and strongly about, and so that is amazing. Like many other folks, I have so many questions, but I think to boil it down to the most important one is that it seems like your next step, the next thing that you're trying to achieve for this is to get the funding required to be able to expand and grow.
Incorrect.
Okay, so tell me, that's what I want to know then. What is the next step for you? I know there are several things you're interested in looking at, but what is the number one most important thing that you want for Ride Better Together right now?
The number one thing is the ask I said. For people, I'll give you a second question if you'd like. For the funding to come in, people must believe that this service is worth funding. At the moment, what we are building is infrastructure. Can anyone name me the people who laid down your water pipes or maintain the electricity grid? Because those things are essential but forgotten, people don't think about them. It's not on the human consciousness. So I believe before you can even unlock funding, people have to understand what it is you are aiming to achieve and how their contribution can help each other. That's my big ask. It's well before the actual expansion goal.
So it's a lot more like education of population?
Yes, how this isolation is killing our neighbors, how our infrastructure is not built for them or for us as we age, and then how or what solutions we can pull together as a community to create. That understanding unlocks support and unlocks funding. And then when you have the funding, you can designate it to more drivers, more capacity.
So now obviously one of those steps is to do your presentation today.
Correct.
Which is, I hope, very impactful, and I hope everybody here is able to take something forward from that. So in that continued mission to spread this and spread the word and increase the education, increase its visibility, what is your next concrete step to do that?
I'll take suggestions on that.
Cool.
You see, it's a weird paradox, because among the people who need our service, what I do spreads like wildfire. I am sure not a tongue of a person who works in social work or in the hospital system or in nursing homes has not spoken about what I do to their people or what I can give them.
Mm.
Yet at the same time, the support does not come in. So it's a weird paradox where I'm known in small circles, but I'm not known by the public at large, or at least our cause isn't known. And it's no secret, I have a big glaring sign that says free on my van. Yeah. And I drive around town with it. And I am literally everywhere in the whole county on any given day. So I don't know that awareness or visibility is the problem per se. I think it's understanding and consciousness.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a neighbor who fell, ended up in a nursing home, and wanted to go back home. And instead, she was at the end of a hallway, not getting a lot of visitors, kind of wasting away in isolation, and kind of lost the will to go back home. So we invited her to our house for dinner, and I was looking at the options of how to get her there, and found out that it costs about $40 each way for a wheelchair transit. Until I, yeah, some of them were $80 each way. And we were willing to fork that out, but it's not something that we could do very often. And then I found out about your service, and you gave her a ride, and that's how I, found out and got on your newsletter and found out that you were doing this today. That ride sparked her will to live and her will to recover and continue doing PT and OT to eventually get back home. We brought her home on Monday, and I attribute that to your service. And so I wanted to say that just so that people have context of like how much it does cost just to have a relational ride. Nobody would give her a ride because it wasn't a doctor's appointment, and anybody in the private sector, it was also often outside of their business hours to have dinner. And so it was really critical that we connected. And so I'm grateful for that. Somebody asked what next steps are, how we can help you. And I think one of the biggest things right now you touched on in your presentation, I'm asking if you might elaborate just a little bit. There's a ridership survey that's open until June 26th for the county about the bus system. Can you touch on something that if we wanted to fill out that survey, what is important for us to capture for the county to hear that we want? Because I started the survey and I was like, I don't know what to write. So if you could kind of feed me some of what is important to say in that survey, I think that's something that each one of us should do in this room after we leave.
Thank you. Well, I would simply implore you to ask the question as you fill out the survey, what is good for the community? I also suggest everyone fills out those ridership surveys by Buncombe County about the bus system, because what it is essentially asking is, how would you feel if you couldn't have the bus in your area? Right now, or last few months, Buncombe County hired a traffic consultant by the name of Jarrett Walker to go through our bus routes and create either an efficiency model called ridership or a model that has coverage, meaning that the bus comes more seldom, but it impacts everyone. The city is choosing an efficiency model, which goes counter to Jarrett's own book, because he wrote a book called Human Transit, and I have read it. And he suggests that a mountainous terrain like ours, with disparate populations in separate areas, benefits more from a coverage model than it ever would from an efficiency model. So yes, as you fill that out, ask to use the bus. Say that it's important, not just for you, but for your neighbors. It is a lifeline. Severing a lifeline can be disastrous in people's lives. And I am so glad that she found the will to return to her home, Eric. It's done by the Buncombe County Art Transit. That's what he's referring to.
You can find it on the county site if you just Google Buncombe County ridership survey.
Thank you.
Hi, Gino. Aaron, so piggybacking on taking donations and Have you thought of like even having a QR code on your van as you're driving around that says, help keep it free, or something like that? And bam, there you go.
I've heard that phrase from someone else, help keep it free. And I like it. There's a concurrent theme there, so I can debate it. Plus, our banner is obnoxious, and it could be switched out. But
Well, it could even go on like the rear window or...
I'm not opposed to that. For some reason, a QR code, though, implies someone driving would use their phone, and I don't want to add to that problem.
They are anyways, so maybe allow them to give you money.
But your question is, how can I facilitate people to donate? You see, again, the problem is never that it's hard. I mean, I accept cash donations, I have a mailing address, I have a relatively pain-free Give Lively platform on our website. I don't identify that as the problem. People don't relate what they're giving to and what it means for someone to receive that money or how it's applied.
So I understand that, but like, even if you had a quick 30-second video spot, like tug on the heartstrings above your donate page or whatever, if someone were to scan a QR code, just concisely figure out how to convey that message and get them, at least make them want to know more about what you're doing and why it's free, who it's free to.
Spark curiosity.
Yes.
I like that. Thank you.
Hi, if I may. Michael? I'm going to impose on Bill's indulgence and make some comments and then ask a question. I would have started by talking of Patreon, but I'm hearing from you some much deeper strategy about the idea of $20 for me versus that's not buying the van.
Correct.
So I think you have some ideas under there that would go well into the presentation to help people see what you're trying to really do to grow, right? Because I'm hearing some stuff that's really moving.
Are you implying like fundraising like Patreon or like GoFundMe?
No, I'm thinking that's not what you're saying you need, right?
No.
You need that engagement from the community. You need, again, $20 for me isn't going to buy you a van,
Correct.
right? So I'm not trying to dig too much in that. I'm just saying some of what you said to Q&A would help clarify how the community can help you move forward.
You seem to intrinsically understand that this service is one of the most expensive charities you could run. Therefore, yes, $20, $5 donations don't amount to much. But to know that someone living on fixed income or in poverty-stricken situations donates to me $5 or $10 fuels me with a desire to keep going, well beyond the value of the money.
Well,
But-
yeah.
Go on, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I don't mean to interrupt.
That was it?
Okay. You mentioned you have a board, right? Do you have somebody on board who, no pun intended, their focus is fundraising?
No.
Because this is such a valuable thing. I think we're all moved by it. There are people in this community, that's what they do. And I think if you can partner with somebody with significant fundraising experience, that could be what moves the needle.
I welcome more local board members. For a time, we had an existential crisis where the organization, though funded, was going to collapse because no one would step up to be on my board. We've resolved that, but the board is still small. And one of the members doesn't even live in the county. So yes, people with experience are welcome, and their experience and would be a boon to us.
Well, I mention it in part because I think there are other people in the audience who are way more connected than me to know somebody. If I may ask one question, there's somebody I help. They are isolated. They have no they have one living relative that they know of that lives out of state. It sounds like you've helped some of your clients find a place to go for relation. Is that true? Like
That's brilliant. Right now, we are moving towards a volunteer model in which I'm experimenting with the idea of allowing people to ride along with the people or to give them a reason to go out. I drive one 96-year-old who goes to eat alone at a restaurant. She invites me every time to eat with her, and I politely decline because I have to drive more people. But I thought, what if I joined community instead of just bringing people out, which I believe is the pilot idea of what you were saying there, or encouraging them to do more social things and not look at us as a taxi that takes them to Walmart once a month. That is how I would like to move towards this and how I could incorporate volunteers. But it is hard for me to develop programs like that with the staffing that I have.
There it is. Jody, I have to say, like, this presentation and this idea, I'm just blown away why it's every city doesn't have like an outfit that's already doing this and
I can tell you
robust,
why.
right? Like, what a gap. And
I can tell you why.
Please do. Go ahead.
Because it's expensive, but that isn't the real reason. If you really think about it, what did I do? Start a charity, make some signs, buy a van, and convert it into a wheelchair van. The problem is our thinking. This is anti-entrepreneur. The traditional entrepreneur model is I want high margin, low effort. This is extremely low margin. We are burning money to help individuals live better. Also, it is high responsibility. This is about as high touch as you can get. We are transporting human beings through space, and they need help getting in the van. They need help being locked in the wheelchair. The entrepreneurial mindset is not geared towards even thinking towards what I am doing. That's the chief barrier. But yes.
I just see this as a potential, like, growing into Meals on Wheels kind of level thing, right? That's all over the country. But different direction, which was the volunteer route. You kind of brought up the idea of volunteers spending, quality time with folks, but not drivers. So I'm kind of still, is that a too big of a liability for an outfit? Because, like, say with Meals on Wheels, I volunteered for that. I'm using my own vehicle, I'm doing it with my own time. But with this, is there a liability issue or some other grander thing that isn't allowing you to say, hey, I could volunteer? I mean, I don't have a vehicle that could put a wheelchair in it, so that's kind of a hurdle there for volunteers. But what's the volunteer aspect? Have you thought about that?
Jody, you are thinking about the bigger picture. Yes, there is not a community in our state or our country that would not benefit from programs like this. Because, as you know, there's a phenomenon happening called the silver tsunami. We are aging faster than we are replacing. So yes, if it expanded, it would only help more lives. But as for volunteers, the beauty of volunteers is it is a solution. How many cars are currently available? How many people are already driving in empty cars with just one passenger? I have looked into this and even asked about the insurances for it. Yes, it is an expense, and we don't have the money for it. But more than that, you would need to manage this fleet. You would need a dispatcher to coordinate with them. You would have to check on their vehicles to ensure that people are safe and that they have some level of training. And you would have to provide an umbrella insurance that allows them some protection, because you don't want the people doing the work stranded or without supports, which is a model some people do use in transportation. So what that means is it requires funding, management, resources, and it's more than I can develop as a single person. But it is the future.
One last question.
I'll be quick.
Two.
And this isn't even a question, it's a suggestion. So something concrete we can all do is contact Buncombe County City Council, email them and thank them for supporting this program. They